Welcome to Movies Filmed in the Cinema Reels, the only podcast that refuses to shave its sideburns. My name is Eric.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we're here today to talk to you about a couple movies. First movie we're going to be discussing today is Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
So how was Mad Max's first movie?
Was it an exploitation movie?
Sorry?
Was it an exploitation movie? Was it like... No.
I mean, a little bit, maybe.
No, it wasn't gory, it wasn't...
I mean, no, I don't think it was that. Actually, wait, it was a little bit violent, I guess. No, it wasn't. I mean, by today's standards, not really. I mean, there was a lot of... Oh, wait, there was like some rape.
Yay, some rape!
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to replay the whole movie in my head. Like, what happened? Like, oh yeah, so there was like a bit of rape.
But like, from what I've seen of the movie, it's just completely different from like this one, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, the first one was very low budget and stripped down. Like,
Yeah, it was a $500,000 budget, I believe.
I think it was a little bit
or a little
more
bit
than
more than that, just under $1 million.
Yeah, it was like in like less than 10 million, I think. And yeah, so yeah, a lot of the environments were kind of like these desert roads, and a lot of the chases were just kind of like these one-on-one car chases.
But it took place like in the post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, that whole post-apocalyptic Australian landscape.
But from what I saw of like trailers and stuff, it wasn't like post-apocalyptic the way that Fury Road is apocalyptic.
So like the thing about the first one is that it's not completely post-apocalyptic yet. Like the thing with Max is that he's part of some police force or whatever, and they're like the last authority left.
Okay.
In wherever they are, I guess it's Australia.
Okay.
And yeah, so basically the story just follows how he like loses his family and becomes Mad Max, but only like in the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
So yeah, I wasn't crazy about the first one. I found a lot of it was uneventful, and even the chases that were there were pretty cool. But like it's only at the end that like Max actually becomes Mad Max and starts hunting these guys down.
So like in the same way with a lot of directors, like you saw that there was potential for something more in there, but it wasn't like fully developed yet.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I just wasn't super impressed by the first one.
Okay,
the second one was Mad Max Road Warrior was really good though. So I think I haven't seen the third one yet, but I think that probably Fury Road takes the most off of Road Warrior. Just because Road Warrior is where you started to get that sense of like having these really big chases with lots of cars and things like that.
Yeah, but it would never got to like the crazy desert.
Sure, no, but I mean like compared to Mad Max 1, where a lot of the chases were like one-on-one with the cars, like one car versus another car type of thing. Road Warriors where you started to see like 20 cars chasing one other car type of thing.
And it was still practical effects then, right?
Yeah.
But was it as crazy as like Fury Road? Because like Fury Road had the guys like swinging off the cars and whatnot.
Definitely not that crazy. But for its like I could totally see how at the time that this movie came out, I mean I can't imagine any other movie would have had a chase scene that ridiculous.
And it's like, but it's basically just cars flipping over and exploding and such.
Yeah.
Was there more dialogue in the older movies than this one?
Yeah, probably.
Because like it's funny because when I came out of Fury Road, I'm like, I didn't really like it that much, and it's weird because like everyone else in the world loved this, like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I didn't care. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, it was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
But it was my fault because I went in there with expectations of there's going to be like a bigger world setup and there's going to be like more character development, but it was like pretty much here's a very simple story and a lot of crazy action.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones were like that? Or
no,
what?
like in Road Warrior, you at least had, Max, the beginning of the movie, Max meets this guy. I don't remember all the details. I saw it several weeks ago. But yeah, Max meets this guy who has a helicopter or something that he made. I don't know, then they do some stuff and Max ends up at this camp that's... this camp of survivors. Then there's like this rival gang that is trying to take over that camp, and they want them to leave, and they want their gasoline. And Max has to like ally with whoever the good guy, the good camp, and help them escape. So like it's a little bit more complicated than Fury Road's story of just we need to get there. Oh, now
A to B.
Yeah.
A to B back to A.
Back to A, exactly. I had it's funny when I watched it, I had zero expectations. It's not my kind of movie. I had no information about Mad Max. I didn't know anything
like you
about
just
it.
went because your friends
went because
like,
my friends told me, let's go to
dude,
let's go watch Mad Max. I'm like, begrudgingly I went, and I'm like, I went to this movie, and I wish I brought my earplugs because it was very loud. And after the movie, during the movie, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt very exhausted. I felt
Yeah, I mean, Road Warrior in that sense does have more breathing room. I mean, there's still a long chase, but like there's like a 20 or 30 minute chase, but it's at the end of the movie.
See, like Jonathan and I, when we both got out of the theater, we were talking to each other and we're like, this movie needed to breathe more. It just felt like wall-to-wall action. There were a couple scenes of like, okay, we need to advance the plot a little bit, but then it's like right back to here's 45 minutes of straight action or whatever. Were the other movies like that? That
No,
it was
not
like
at all.
as intense? Or
Not
it's
at
like,
all. There was a lot more. Actually, even the first Mad Max movie I find didn't have that much action in it.
But it's not the amount of action. I think it was just like the
Yeah, there
length
was-
of the action.
Yeah, there was more space between the action scenes that were in there.
So when I went into it, it was exhausting. You know, I felt it was really loud, and I'm like, what is this movie? You know, I came out of it, I didn't know what to think of it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So it did something to me, and I thought to myself, as much as I probably don't like this genre of movie, it had an effect on me. So it worked, even though I might not like it. It worked
Because
it worked as a loud metal album type of movie. I said it's a
Metal album
like a
features-
Motorhead album.
It's literally Motorhead.
It's
the
literally
movie.
Motorhead the movie, right?
No,
Like-
but I think that's really cool because, like you said, there's a lot of other genre movies of action that it's just like, oh, here's explosions, building falling down,
Right.
and so on and so forth. But this is something that like felt really like its own genre of action. You know what I mean? Like I
Like,
almost
it's such
think
a pure action movie. There's
Yeah.
almost nothing else happening.
There's no
here
dialogue.
but
It
action.
takes
but it's its own style. It's like one day someone's gonna come out with a Mad Max Fury Road ripoff. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like
I don't think they can. Like, this is a hard movie to rip off. Like, you need to.
No,
find,
they're
like,
gonna rip off with like CGI and just make like oh, let's put Brad Pitt in the lead. Like
no, Brad Pitt wouldn't do that.
have to save the family.
no, but like some really marketable, good-looking actor with
Right.
a bunch of CGI, make the movie fast,
Shia
ship it
LaBeouf.
out. Shia LaBeouf.
I'm fascinated with Tom Hardy because he's such a physical actor. He doesn't use any dialogue, or he could change his voice. He's very good at
Yeah.
all British actors are really good at changing their voice to American accents. But he doesn't even use, most of the time he just uses his body. You see him in roles in like Bronson in as Bane in Dark Knight, this movie Warrior. He doesn't speak much. He's just a physical
It was
actor.
it was a lot with the eyes.
Yeah, it's the eyes, just his body language. There's a lot of
He got his Bane mask back.
Like I thought, like when I was watching trailers and you didn't see him with the mask on that much, but then like the mask is present on the poster, right? I believe so. So like he was wearing it for like a good chunk of the movie. I'm like,
Didn't you know that Dark Knight Rises happened and this was going to draw comparisons?
So
Don't
would
find
you
it
guys?
out.
I liked the whole Furiosa character. Just I have a problem with the costume design of the brides.
just because they
I had no problem with it.
I
I thought it was great costume design.
thought it was
Fast.
If for the message it was trying to emit, it didn't. I
No,
thought
but
it was
I-
very vogue for.
Okay, I could understand why you're thinking that, but I completely disagree because in
Well,
the
half of them are like Victoria's Secret models.
Right.
yeah, but if you watch the rest, like the other characters in the movie, like there's a bunch of guys who just have pants on, and there's guys with like half a thing of armor. No one is dressed properly in this movie.
But
So
is
anyone,
anyone
Yeah, the dudes in the movie look sluttier than the girls.
there's like the
guy,
the main
yeah.
guy, the main bad guy. What's his name?
Yeah, he's got some body positivity going on.
But
No,
it's
but I'm
never
saying-
a male. It's never a male problem. It's always a female thing.
Well, they were sex slaves. They should look like that.
They weren't sex
They were
slaves.
brides, and in the post-apocalyptic world, like that's the way they were made to dress.
Oh, God.
What did you want them to do? Have like
No,
a
but-
pantsuit on?
What,
Have
look
a
at
stage
Furiosa.
shirt on.
Furiosa had a shaved head and leather pants. I think it was leather pants, right?
Sure.
But she wasn't a sex slave.
And she
Why
was-
wasn't Furiosa? Sex slave?
Like, is not having an arm that much of a turn on? Break your
What
dick
happened
with
to
a
the
hand.
arm?
If I take that arm off, will you die?
She still looked pretty because she's Charlize Theron and she's very attractive, but but she still went to those extremities.
But like you're making the point of like the women were kind of objectified.
Yeah.
But this entire movie is like women empowerment with like all of Furiosa and everything she's done. Like Tom Hardy almost plays a supporting character
Right.
to her story.
Right.
Like I don't think.
But he does that in the other Mad Max movies. He's always a supporting character of someone else's story.
So he's really like
he shows up,
like-
solves people's problems, and leaves.
a wandering nomad kind of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
So if they make another one, he's just gonna like go into someone else's problem.
Sure.
I don't think Tom
That's
Hardy
like
would
his
be
thing.
casted in the next one, would he?
I don't think they're gonna keep him.
I think they're going to keep him at this point, and I think he was really happy with the film too, so he'll come back.
Good for
Which I'm happy for because, like, this guy was like he could not make a movie for the longest time, and he finally got the funding and whatever to make this.
George Miller?
Yeah, and it turned out really good. And it was pretty successful at the box office, made its money back and then some, so good for him.
And also, I wanted to add to that, what I did like a lot about this movie is because it draws off the silent movie era where there's no dialogue, and in this case they let the action dictate the plot. And I thought that was interesting. It was a new take on silent film because silent film isn't really, let's face it, it's not in prominence anymore. Yeah. Besides The Artist, which was very good. Also, we'll get to that another day.
Sure.
But I like that idea that they let, again, that's another thing that I thought worked, even though I don't really like these type of movies, the action dictating the plot instead of all the dialogue. You know, sometimes dialogue can become trite, and we've heard this before. And
it doesn't weigh down. It's very simple. It's like we're talking right now to establish what the next thing we have to do is. Okay, we've arrived at that destination. Here's dialogue to establish what the next thing we have to do is. It's used very sparingly, but I don't know if it's so much silent film because it was very loud.
But that's what I'm getting to. It wasn't silent film. It was a different sort of silent film. No, it was the radical opposite of silent film.
There's probably 10 pages of dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It doesn't go that far.
The rest of the dialogue was just and then the car goes blam! Okay, what did you think about the color saturation? Because that kind of bugged me.
The whole, throughout the movie?
Yeah, how everything was orange and blue.
Like I said, I like color, I like color saturation if it fits the movie. I like the desert, you said it was on location?
Yeah.
And you said there's color. I didn't know. I couldn't tell though.
I don't know if you
really
want to call it
everyone just looked unnaturally.
Are you talking about the color situation on the picture or on the people, on the
everything? Everything in the movie was either orange or blue.
Yeah,
which kind of bugged me.
It didn't bug me because the whole movie is visually powerful. In the way that everyone is dressed very strikingly, they all do really crazy stuff, and you're watching and you're being assaulted with visuals. So I think having the lighting be two extremes of the bright orange and the blue. I don't know.
There was blue.
No, but
orange and blue.
I was trying to think of an adjective for the blue.
Bluish,
fluorescent.
For a strong blue.
Fluorescent?
No, it's not fluorescent.
No.
No, but I think it helped keep the film visually striking. You know what I mean? In the same way, the same way that a graphic novel has its own visual style. Yeah. That's how I felt looking at this. It was just a big, bright picture.
Yeah. But I mean, because the other Mad Max movies were natural, normal.
Natural. That's what I was just gonna get to.
They were naturally colored.
They're naturally colored. Okay.
And the reason I felt this kind of hurt this movie is that every time there was an explosion, I felt like it just kind of blended into the orange background of the desert.
I don't remember the orange. It's funny.
The orange and blue bugged me.
I couldn't, I guess I overlooked the color saturation throughout the movie. I don't know why.
I heard an interview where George Miller was saying that he felt that if you go for when he watches most post-apocalyptic movies, they either go for tend to go for desaturated colors, everything's very grayish. So for this movie, he was debating either going totally black and white, or going super saturated of everything orange and
black and white could have worked.
No.
Actually, I did hear a report that on the DVD of on the Blu-ray or maybe the DVD and Blu-ray of Mad Max Fury Road, you can play the movie just in black and white.
Yeah, I heard that. Another point that I wanted to bring up is in my viewing of the movie, I just ate before going to watch the movie. No, it's important. And so I was watching the movie, and because the whole thing takes place in a desert and it's all very orange, I felt very thirsty throughout the whole movie.
Well, so I'm a desert.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking something must have been working with the visual and the lighting all coming together to make me feel
you need to drink.
That I need to drink. And then I felt slightly better in the quiet blue scenes.
And then when the water
throw it
in 3D too. Keep that in mind. We were watching it in 3D, so that could have had an effect too.
I wonder if I would have preferred the movie in 2D.
I definitely would like to say that I would have preferred.
I want to rewatch the movie, but in 2D.
Yeah, I definitely.
I don't like rewatching a movie quickly once I've seen it.
Yeah,
I like waiting a good amount.
Well, you wait until it comes out on Blu-ray.
Even longer, much longer.
Okay.
I
definitely want to rewatch it when it comes out on Blu-ray.
I haven't rewatched some movies like The Wrestler, for example. I haven't rewatched that in years yet. So it's
usually I'll just rewatch it if it plays on TV or something like that. But I want to like almost actively search out this movie, watch it, and just be like,
It'll probably be available on Netflix or something.
yeah, I want to see if I feel the same way about this movie that I did coming out of the theater. Because coming out of the theater, I was very like bugged by it, kind of thing. Like there were certain things I'm like, it's not as great as everyone makes it out to be. But I want to see if like, okay, now going in there with more of a set mind frame, if I'm going to enjoy it more.
Yeah. I mean, like, well, I think I think we were saying earlier that one of the reasons we didn't enjoy it as much as most people did is just because there is so little character development and investment with the characters.
And the pacing.
But character development, like I was going to say, is
and that makes it.
You don't have to necessarily have character development through dialogue.
No, but I mean, like, you just know so little about the characters that it kind of doesn't. You don't feel invested in what happens to them, and for that reason, it makes you less invested in the action scenes. Even though you can obviously acknowledge that what you're seeing is crazy and really well choreographed and well shot.
Yeah, that's another thing I want to point out. Is like Tom Hardy, as he was filming the movie, he's like, doing all these stunts or whatever, but he's not seeing any results of it. He's just doing stunts, filming it, and okay, next scene.
Okay.
So in the interview circuit, people are like, hey, what do you think about the Mad Max film that's coming out? He's like, I haven't seen it. I don't think it's going to be very good. It seems kind of crazy or whatever. And then when he finally watched the movie, and they put all these stunts together, he's like, I was completely wrong. I apologize, George Miller. That movie was amazing. And that's why I think like also he'll come back to do more because he seemed happy with the finished product.
Well, would it be fair to compare Fury Road to The Raid?
I didn't see The Raid.
Explain.
Well, they're both movies that are very action-oriented, very little plot, I guess.
Yeah, but like two very different types of action.
Okay.
Like this is more of a vehicular one. And
I mean, if we're
arts.
talking in terms of like action movie purity, in terms of like movies that have most of their runtime occupied by action scenes.
Yeah, I could see your connection, but I wouldn't exactly equate them to the same thing.
Okay.
All right, that's our thoughts on Mad Max Fury Road.